We're back on The Big Show talking to an old friend and a comedy genius. Paman, how are you?
Oh, hello there. Genius.
I've been watching you for years and I've followed you through tours and DVDs, and here we are again, and you're still doing what you're doing and I'm still doing what I'm doing. It is a miracle, isn't it?
It is a miracle. Off to Derby yet again. Here we go. Derby, Hull. How do you say it? Hull. So I'm excited to go to Hull.
You can't put any kind of enthusiasm in it whatsoever because Hull is so depressing that you can't... Don't smile while you say it.
Is it really?
It is the most ugly city, I think, in this country.
I can't wait to meet them up in Hull. So here we go. We're off again on a UK tour.
You know why I love you? It's because you're a character comedian, and I'm such a big fan of people who put on an act and do jokes. It seems like comedians like to turn up in their jeans these days and just talk.
Well, that's a stand-up, isn't it? They have a few backlights up shot, like, you know, Chris Rock will come out and have a few lights at the back of him. But I put on a show. I put on an extravaganza. I'm dusting those sequins off and giddy up. Here we go.
What are you then? So you're not a stand-up?
I don't know. I'm an international air hostess to the stars and beyond. I'm a delusional freak that was once a goth.
Let's talk about your character. What do you do on stage? You come on dressed as an air stewardess, and then you talk about airlines. How can that possibly be entertaining?
Well, I guess everybody travels, so they relate to it, and I'm a bitch. So Pam's a bit of a bitch, and we bitch about the other airlines. So you get a lot of cabin crew in, and everyone wants to be talked about, even though you might, you know, make references to British Airways being horses and feeding them hay, and EasyJet, you know, boarding by rope, and it's so. I think people like that. People relate to it, and they see it, don't they?
Are there infinite opportunities for humour with an aeroplane? Because you imagine, actually, there's going to come a point when you can't write any more jokes.
I don't write jokes. I make it up on the spot. Or you have little things that you trigger little doors in your head that open up things. So I don't really write. But someone when I first started said, this is a one-trick pony. There's only so much you can do about travel and airlines. Well, 12 years later, seems to be so much to talk about. I mean, in the news every week, like the Northwest pilots who overshot Minneapolis. I mean, things like that are little gold nuggets for me. So it never stops.
Absolutely, and it's something we all relate to for all the wrong reasons, because it's the only place in society where class is demonstrated the second you arrive at the airport.
The second. The air you breathe. And yeah, it's very true. And if you're flying first class, you feel great, you know. Walk through, kick a few people on the way through, straight on the plane, left, and you feel good with yourself, don't you?
All right, let's talk about the moment then when you realised this was going to be your future. What happened the day you woke up and thought, God, I'm going to make this into a life and a career, and for the rest of my days I'm going to be talking about flying?
I had a hangover like I have today. So it's all born out of a bottle of vodka. So I think, you know, my suggestion, if anyone wants to do comedy, dress up, go out, get pissed, wake up, and voila. But I didn't think it was going to be my life, but it is.
The thing I love about you is you come on stage and you look as if you're enjoying it. You find yourself funny, don't you?
I do crack myself up, yeah. If I say something... See, I find things funny that the audience don't find funny, and I laugh, they don't laugh, but I think that's really funny. And then I walk off, I'm very pleased with myself. You've got to make yourself happy. Not everything's for them, is it? Seriously.
So they're paying for your pleasure?
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
And you're a great act that you use the audience for much of your show. Without them, you'd have about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
In some bizarre way, you managed to pick on the right people and create funny from nothing. That's not easy, is it?
Oh, no, I don't pick the right people, because recently in New York City, I got some girl up and she was quite a heavy-set girl. And look, I'm not light or a size 0, but she was a bit heavier than me. And some guy thought it would be funny to flip her over and do it, like grab her around the waist and flip her over her shoulder into a somersault. And I was standing on the stage thinking, she is going to break her neck and die. And while she was getting flipped, another girl was so drunk that she fell through a speaker. The promoter was coming up from the back of the theatre. This all happened in New York. And I just went, this is crazy. I mean, the audience went wild, but there was an ambulance waiting at the stage door. Seriously. So I don't always pick the right people. No.
There has to be a point with audience participation where you have to stop, don't you? Because, I mean, for health and safety reasons, if nothing else, getting them on stage and expecting them to make your show is always risky.
It's very risky, especially after a few cocktails and they're, like, hugging you. Like, they don't want to let you go. That's like a Klingon koala. They're like, oh, I love you, Batman. And they're like, they were crazy in New York.
And let's face it, there's nothing wilder than a New York audience. For some reason, they like to whoop at anything before you've even said anything.
Well, exactly. And then you got to live up to their expectations, which is even harder. You just go, all you have to do in New York is go, I love you, New York. And they're, rah!
Did you ever think it'd be this big? Obviously, you're big down under, and here people love you. Yeah. You've got a cult following, though. Let's face it, not everybody's heard of you, but those who have come and see you wherever you are, and you always sell out. There aren't many acts like that.
Who is she? There is intrigue, isn't there? And now I have a pleather uniform, and the straight's starting to come. So that's fun.
Is it only gays allowed in your concert?
Well, I love the gays. So the gays know my show more than I know my show. So they know it word for word. They know more material than I know. So if I ever have any problem during the show and I can just go to a gay and they'll say, I'll finish that off for you. They know it. They know it all. I forget. I was reminded last night, all these gaggle of gays were around reminding me of my show. They said, Pam. I said, what? I said, Pam. And I forget all of this stuff. So they reminded me. I went, oh my God, that's funny.
What's the thing you rely on when you forget where you are, what you're doing, who you're doing it to, and there's a silence and they're looking at you? Is there one gag you always pull out of your hat and you know you'll have them back?
I'm so excited I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, but I think I like it. Just something random.
Just totally out of the blue, and they'll laugh at that.
Yeah, they'll laugh. Or I just go, I've no idea where I am at and what am I, where were we? Can you remind me? Because if I go on a tangent and I'll come back and then I don't remember what I was originally saying at the beginning. So, but that's when you have a good audience, you can do that. If you have a hostile audience, then it's scary.
And as for YouTube nicking your act and then you can't do it again, do you worry about that? Because, of course, once it's out there, then you can't really keep doing it, can you?
Well, no, because they love it. Because the Touch Trolley Run to Galley, it was as soon as I did that in America, because they've seen it on YouTube, as soon as I do that, they all do it. They're excited. She's doing it. So it's like you have those pieces that you're known for, you know, like Madonna for Vogue.
And my favourite character is the Chinese airline lady, who is very, very funny, totally politically incorrect. And really, that's one of the reasons you struggle to get on TV and on radio.
Is it?
Because,
well, why?
I think so. I mean, already in this interview, we have a thing now called compliance, and a guy's going to have to listen to this and put his job on the line. And I know they will already have chopped certain things and bleeped certain things. Yeah. You're not mainstream in that way, are you?
No, I guess not. But I guess you can't have too many boundaries or be politically correct if you're a comedian. I mean, I could work on cable TV. I don't want to be mainstream. It doesn't bother me. You get all walks of life to the show, so I've never really put myself in any category, really. I just do it.
What's it like at the stage door? I mean, can you sneak out without them knowing, or do they now know who you are?
Yeah, but see, I don't know half the time who's Caroline and Pam. They're it's like an Asian fusion. It's like one of those dishes, you know, there's all those new cuisines that you have. I think Pam and Caroline is a bit like that. But no, they recognise me, and on aeroplanes, it's good. It's a perk. I always leave an aircraft with a bottle of champagne. That's very good. Except on EasyJet, when I flew recently, the girl came over to me and said, here's a bottle of water.
Do you ever have any negative reaction? Because, I mean, you do mock. I mean, your act is looking at the weaknesses of whoever you're flying with. For example, you illustrate the fact that flying EasyJet is not as glamorous as flying Virgin Upper Class. It's obvious, but you do it in a funny way. Yeah. Does anybody ever get the ump with that? Not
really. I've never had a problem. Never.
So you think people who work for EasyJet know that they're not competing?
Oh, they love it. You know, if I say they're Orange Park is turn into tents and they sleep on the highway. And would they ever like to stay in a hotel? You know, dream on, baby. So they love it, I think. I'm sure, you know, I don't know any other. I guess Al mightn't find the funny side of things.
Do you have a favourite airline? Is there one that you always travel with, or do you just go with whoever?
I go on seat configurations, and I like the aircraft. I will only fly. I'll only fly a 747 to Australia because I think 747-400. You know you're going away, and it's a big deal, and it's a journey, and I won't go on a 777 to Australia. It's just, to me, that's disappointing. The 777 to New York in first class on American is fantastic. I think that's the aircraft for the States. 747 to Australia. And unfortunately, British Airways have stopped all their beach fleets out to Mykonos. So you have to get a 737 or an A320 EasyJet aircraft. And coming back from Mykonos with a hangover on an EasyJet flight for 4 hours is my idea of hell.
I have to say, I didn't understand a word of that, but I thank you for it.
Oh, you didn't understand that what I like to travel?
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, the fact that you understand what the difference is between an A320 and a 747 is fascinating. When you check in, are you guaranteed an upgrade being you?
Well, no, because you don't get upgraded these days. You have to pay for your ticket or have it pre-done. So I'll always make sure that I'm in business. I mean, I couldn't do economy to Australia. I would actually probably kill myself before I'd do that.
I'm the same. I mean, there's no way I would fly to Australia for that reason. It takes about 6 days, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, 2 years now.
Is flying as fun now as it was 10 years ago? Because they're all cutting back. I mean, we read that BA could literally go bust in minutes.
Yeah.
They try and cut back on the hand towels, and you notice little bits going bit by bit. It's not as much fun, is it?
No, especially when you're putting your head down and they snatch the pillow from under your head and they're taking away things all the time. And it's not as glamorous. You know, once upon a time on Qantas, they used to on board have ice sculptures like a swan that have an ice sculpture and serve caviar out of it. And do you know how heavy that ice is? That's heavy. And to sculpt it and get it up in the air and serve out of it, now that takes a lot of effort to do that. And you know, they don't have they cut back. I think American Airlines or some airline like that, they had to cut costs, and they were going to save, like, say, $1 million by just taking one olive out of the salad. Just takes one olive out of the salad. Now you have to pay for everything in economy on American.
Listen, I love you. You know I love you. I supported you for years and years and years. To find a rare act is so peculiar and difficult to find these days because everybody wants to look the same and act the same. And I love the fact you go to great effort. My final question has to be this. Are you not sick of having to drag up every day and get that wig on and the costume on and cart all that gear around with you? Wouldn't it be easy just to turn up and do comedy as Caroline?
Absolutely. I would love it. I see those stand-ups and I think, how dare you? You can just go to the Hammersmith Apollo, get a microphone and stand on the stage, where I've got to go in there with video screens. I've got 3 costume changes, the choreography, the dancers. I'm actually thinking, you know, I'm going to have to put Pam away and bring Caroline out and do some stand-up. It seems like you can make a lot of money that way.
Keep on keeping on, and good luck with everything. You've got 2 Palladium shows coming up, which is amazing.
Yeah, the London Palladium. I know my dad's already on the phone saying, oh, Caroline, don't swear. You're not going to swear, are you? It's a London Palladium. You know, in Australia, it's a really big deal. You know, for my, family in the suburbs.
Well, it's a big deal over here. I mean, you'll be in the same dressing room as Liza Minnelli and people like that.
I love that. I have to have a cocktail on her. I'll turn into Judy Garland. I've got the red shoes.
What dates are you there?
The 6th and 13th of December on a Sunday at like 7 o'clock. So it's a great day for the gays to come out. And we're performing the show on top of Sister Act. So I'm excited to go through their costumes when they're not there. I can't
Are there
wait.
rules in your contract about not touching anything or perhaps switching their lights on or moving their set?
I don't know, but we're going to have fun trying. It's going to be great.
Congratulations on being you. You so deserve the success you've got. If you want to get a great DVD, I think it's still out there. And go to YouTube and search for Pam Ann. She's fabulous, she's funny, and she's here with us today. Pam, thanks so much for talking to me. Caroline.
I don't know. See, I told you it was like a fusion. It was an Asian fusion, something like that.
Good to talk to you.
You too.